Hey friends, welcome to the November Fragrance Awards, where I share with you what I wore during the last month and put them in some faux award categories that I completely made up just for fun. To preview what's going to happen in December on my channel, I will also be doing my top perfume purchases of the year. I'll do another video on my top fragrance regrets. That one is always fun. And I'll also do a top 10 for life to sort of round out the year. The very next video that you see after this one will be a scent memories of the season to celebrate the most joyous time of the year, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate this time of year. Let's think about what that smells like and perfumes associated with those memories, and that is a viewer request. And as we roll into January, we'll get back into some of the faves, like we'll do a sandalwood video, I have an amber video coming up, and a bunch of other fun stuff. So let's jump into the November awards. I'll kick off with the favorite blind buy of the month, meaning it's a fragrance that at some point I blind purchased. And it is Roberto Cavalli's Paradiso Assoluto. This is a fragrance that smells different every time I put it on. Today, when I sniff this, I smell a beautiful, sweet, white floral with some touches of tropical flavor. So this has wisteria as a note, which isn't really like a white floral. It smells how it sounds. Wisteria is kind of like a purple bunch of little flowers, and it has sort of a cool, cold smell to it. But this also has beautiful other white floral scents in it, like jasmine and lily. It has a lot of vanilla. There's a passion fruit note. I consider this to smell a lot like a discontinued fragrance from Victoria's Secret that was called Body, if I'm not mistaken. It's the only thing that has come close to reminding me of that fragrance that I wore a lot in the 90s in my college days. And husband likes this. It smells really great on me. It has good lasting power. I enjoy this bottle. Really pretty sort of tropical fruit drink look to it. Really neat blind buy. In the category of best bottle is an underrated fragrance, if you ask me. Actually, I think all of the fragrances in this line should be talked about just a little bit more. This is Jivago Exotic Noir, and it looks like that. So it's kind of a bit like Halloween-y, horror movie prop, something along those lines. It's woody. It has some liquor. There's a beautiful berry note in here with some greenness as well. Very intricate, I think, exactly the name, exotic, nighttime kind of a fragrance. Really beautiful, along the lines of like Sea Intense, the new one, the Armani New Sea Intense, mixed with something a little bit woody like Majestic Woods. If you mash those two up together, you might get something like this. This is a nicely projecting fragrance, but it's not loud at the same time. It's one that I think would be lovely for a dinner kind of situation where you're sitting with other people. You want to smell, you want to stand out, you want to smell sexy and beautiful and noticed in an evening setting, but you don't want to be too loud. Beautiful fragrance. And then the worst bottle in November. I know some people really love these bottles. I think they are super tacky and gaudy, but the fragrances are beautiful. So this, I mean, it's so tacky that I guess it leans. You ever have that thing where something's so ugly and gaudy that it's actually beautiful in its ugliness? This is kind of like that. From Orientica, which is either a subsidiary or a sister house to Al Haramain, I haven't quite figured that out yet, is Amber Rouge, which is a really spot-on dupe for Baccarat Rouge 540, the extrait version. It is absolutely wonderful. The fragrance, long-lasting, projecting, a dead-on dupe if you don't want to pay those big dollars. This is a nice hefty bottle if you don't mind this crazy-looking gaudy case. Some people love it, that's fine. In fact, most of the Orientica fragrances, I think all of them that I've come across, are actually a dupe for something else, although I haven't figured out a few of them yet. But anyway, great dupe if you're interested in that scent profile. In the category of sexiest fragrance for November, I actually have two. The first one you heard me talk about in the Blind Buy Chronicles Volume 5 video. If you watch that, it is Jasminisha from the Moresque collection. What a gorgeous white floral, very sweet vanillic fragrance, very soft, yet has lots of presence. And in other words, it has a little bit of projection, a nice scent bubble around you where those that are coming in closer range will think you just smell divine. And as this begins to settle on your skin, you get some spicy notes like ginger that come up and give the fragrance just a little bit of zing. But by and large, this is a beautiful, very soft and sexy jasmine-centric sweet fragrance. Absolutely a neat one and a blind buy. Could also have been a best blind buy. The second one is also a white floral with a little bit of zing, and it is actually a dupe for Rouge Malachite. This is called Luxury Rouge, and it's made by a company called Riff, R-I-F-F. I don't remember if there's an S on it. I'll put it on the screen, obviously. I put this on and my husband went bananas. Here is a text that he sent me after I passed by his office while he was on a phone call. Take a look at this. So I would call that a winner. I would like to get a real Rouge Malachite one day, but in the meantime, this is a fantastic alternative and is very long lasting for, I think, somewhere in the $20 to $30 range. Usually FragranceX.com carries this if you're interested in this. And they also have the Vert Malachite dupe as well, the green bottle that looks like this. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum in the category of best everyday fragrance, and I think this may be a repeat from another month, it is Initio's Musk Therapy. This has got to be one of the most sophisticated musk fragrances that I have laid my nose on. It has some beautiful citrus notes. If I had to describe the musk, I would say it looks like the bottle. It's white, it's light, it's airy. It's not a heavy, like sexy animalic kind of a musk. It is a very tender, gentle musk, but this also has longevity and projection as well. So most of the Initio fragrances are like that with very little exception. They last a long time and they project pretty far. So spray lightly with this one. Beautiful citrus here that's also really light, thin, and delicate. Gorgeous for every day, but you can also use this as a special occasion fragrance if you want to be sort of on the citrusy side of things. But anyway, this is one that is on my white t-shirt shelf and that I reach for probably more often than I should because I need to give other ones a chance as well. Then in the category of the best gift, meaning it's something that would be easily liked by it has mass appeal. Here's one that I think a lot of people would like, especially if they're newer to fragrances and they're not into the whole note structure or even understand what any of that means, and they just want to smell good. It's Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming. This is a very berry-centric fragrance with some rose in it and some musk. Now, this is a fragrance that has great longevity and great projection. However, I become slightly nose blind to this about halfway through the day. I think that it has worn away, and it really hasn't. Other people can still smell this on you. It is an absolutely girly, pretty kind of a fragrance, very highly feminine, nicely done, great for different ages. I feel like this is something that young ladies in middle school can wear all the way through mature adulthood and just feel like they smell beautiful, pretty, and sweet. So very safe gift, especially as we go here. I said safe with a T. Very safe gift as we go here into the holiday season. Next up is best for the season, and I have to feature a combination that I tried just on the fly one day. We've all heard about Coffee Addict from Theodoros Kalotinis. This is an eau de parfum concentration, and it comes in a 50 ml bottle like this, and I think I might have some new packaging. By the way, a lot of people ask me about the shipping on this. This is a Greek perfumer. If you go on the website every so often, he will do sales on fragrances, and sometimes will do up to 40% off of some. So I do understand that this can be expensive in terms of shipping, but if you're in the States, check out Mercari. Sometimes these show up on Mercari and you can get more reasonable shipping that way. Anyway, I layered this with Montal's Ristretto Intense Cafe, which is a this is coffee and caramel. I forgot to say that, like a coffee caramel latte kind of a fragrance, really strong, delicious. This is so good for the season. Perfect, like coffee shop kind of a fragrance. And then Intense Ristretto Cafe is more in like the dark coffee direction. And if you know about Intense Cafe, it's got that sort of rosy nuance to it, rosy musky nuance. These two together were really quite delicious and perfect for that deep coffee shop kind of a scent. In the category of best special occasion fragrance is a new one that I have not talked about in my blind buy chronicles yet, but I will. I was introduced to this. It's actually not really a blind buy, but I'll include it in there anyway. I got introduced to this by my friend Joss at Joss's Fragrance Mixology. Check out her channel if you haven't. I'll link it below. This got a lot of hype on YouTube probably 4 or 5-ish, maybe 6-ish months ago. Narciso Rodriguez Musk Noir Rose for her. I love these sort of sleek, minimalistic bottles here, and I ended up getting the big one because I found it on discount on fragrancenet.com, where I often shop for discounted fragrances, not sponsored. This is everything that people were hyping it up to be. I do have to say, my husband kind of liked this. He wasn't sure, and as the day wore on, he liked it less and less, and I kind of liked it more and more. I thought it developed quite nicely on me. Beautiful, really soft, musky, vanillic, floral fragrance. There's rose and tuberose in here, which is a nice, interesting combination of like the fresh rosiness and the sexiness of the tuberose, and a beautiful, clean musk like only Narciso Rodriguez can do with that sweetness from the vanilla. I find this to be heavenly on me and think this would be perfect for a special occasion. In the category of biggest surprise is one that I had considered decluttering because I really wasn't reaching for it. And then one night before bed, I said, let me try this again and just see what I think one last time, right? Give it one last try, like the George Michael song. Oscar, this is the eau de toilette version. And no, it's not like the original. Yes, it's been reformulated and all of that, blah, 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 blah. Like we hear about that all the time and people lamenting, and I lament too. But let's get over that and just enjoy this eau de toilette version. From this fragrance, I get almost like a combination of white and yellow florals. I haven't looked up the notes, so I'm just giving you my impressions. There's a little bit of a sweetness and like a deep amberiness even to this, and some light woodiness. Floral, amber, woody kind of a fragrance, kind of old school vintage smell, not in the animalic direction. I don't mean that. I mean the old school florals. This gives me that, like that 80s, early 90s kind of a floral. And I enjoyed it. So it's staying in the collection. I was really surprised that I enjoyed it so much. In the category of not a safe blind buy, but one that I find completely beautiful, and it's very hyped up. This is Montal's Honey Oud, which is perfect for the season. So I joke around about this smelling like the bottom of like a cinnamon crunch cereal box. Like after you have eaten, and I'm not a big cereal eater, but other people in my life have been. That's what I get here, like that cinnamon, sugary, grainy scent that's at the bottom of the crushed cereal without milk, no milk in it. And as this sits more, I definitely am getting more of the honey. When I first purchased this, I got some honey, but by and large, it was more of like that sugar cinnamony kind of a thing. More and more, I'm getting a really strong, thick honey out of this, along with that oody touch. And it's just perfect, like cold, exactly like this, a sweater weather kind of a fragrance. Really neat, and love the color on this bottle. It attracts me. Next, I'll do a top three, middle three, bottom three, an overhyped and underhyped fragrance. And I'm just going to add another category because while the video is long, why not? I'll do my very favorite fragrance of the month. So moving along to top three. We'll go first to Ariana Grande Cloud 2.0 Intense, which is a lot like the regular Cloud if you have smelled that. A beautiful, airy coconut. It has a little hint of lavender. It has a beautiful whipped cream note. So imagine Cloud, the regular one, if you've smelled that in like an Ulta or something, and add creaminess to it and maybe amp up the coconut a bit more and you get that. But there is still that airy, like sponge sugar kind of a thing happening that people liken this to Baccarat Rouge 544. That thing is still happening, but amp up the creaminess, amp up the coconut, and you have this beautiful, long-lasting, very appealing fragrance. I find this to be mass appealing. When I wear this or Cloud, people always ask what I have on and tell me that I smell great. Then my Thanksgiving Day fragrance was actually a combination, and I'm featuring this in the top three, the two of these together. Commodity Milk Bold plus Kilian Princess. Layering these. If you have the expressive version of this, you can layer them as well. I haven't tried just the personal one. You know how the commodity comes in those three tiers. This is a cloudy, marshmallowy, creamy, slightly woody dream with a little bit of zing from the notes in here. Oh my gosh, this was so good together. I could not stop smelling myself, and my clothing smelled so beautiful the next day when I went to kind of launder them. I was like, oh my gosh, the smell on the clothing was just absolutely divine. And then the next one kind of reminds me of that Narciso Musk Noir Rose that I featured. It's from Rosendo Mateo, and this is number 6. So we joked around about number 5. I'm joking around about number 6 and me hyping this one up based on some reviews here on YouTube. Some of the ladies here just really love it. Jasmine, sandalwood, and musk. I find this to be probably one of the most beautiful fragrances in terms of its smoothness. Like the smooth category, this is like the most refined. Think about liquor that has been refined and refined until it is just smooth, smooth, smooth. This is that kind of a thing in a fragrance. I don't mean that this smells like liquor. I just mean in terms of how smooth and refined. I can't think of other words. My adjectives are failing me, but I do find this to be beautiful. You do need to like jasmine and enjoy musk to really appreciate this. And it's one of the sort of softer, more gentle sandalwoods that I have smelled in a long time. Really fantastic fragrance. I do have number 5, which I enjoy also, and am now wanting to try many more from this particular house. Then in the category of middle 3, I've already sold this to a new home, so this is being enjoyed elsewhere right now. It's Divine Vanille from Essential Parfums. Really pretty fragrance. Let me be clear. This is a vanilla fragrance that has some woodiness to it, that has a little bit of spicy kick and a touch of like a smoky incense thing happening in the background. Nice vanilla. If you're interested in that, I would absolutely say check this one out. It's an affordable niche. And by affordable, I mean not in the several hundreds or $300 and $400 for the bottle, right? This one I think you can find in the $70 to $80 range and can probably get some discounts on it. My issue is I have almost a full shelf of vanillas at this point, and I would reach for other vanillas before this. Not that it isn't pretty and not that I didn't enjoy wearing it, but I found myself wishing that I had reached for a different kind of vanilla, something that maybe leans more in the feminine direction. I find this to be squarely unisex, maybe slightly leaning in the masculine direction. I don't have a problem with masculine fragrances. I have many masculine fragrances, but in the vanilla realm, this one was just not the one that I would love the most, or isn't among the loves. So I hope whoever purchased this is really enjoying it. And then one that I am surprised is in the middle category because I have loved on it before, but something about when I wore it recently, I thought I would prefer to be wearing something else. So that was a sign to me that my time with this fragrance has probably come to an end. Shalimar Soufflé Intense. So I am really, really eager to get the Shalimar Millissime Tonka Millissime. That one that I ordered from News Parfums overseas and got caught up somewhere in cyber mail space. And I'm sad because it never got to my home, but I want to try that more. I do have the original Shalimar. I think I either sold or it's on my Mercari, the Eau de Cologne concentration of Shalimar. And this one I was hanging on to. I do love this beautiful bottle with the dainty base. I think it's so cute. This one has a lemon sort of ambery, musky, powdery thing. And I don't not enjoy it. I like it. I like it. Again, not one that maybe is like my top string kind of a fragrance. You know, you have your team with your lines of players, you have your first string, your second string, your third string. This is probably hovering somewhere between second and third string lately. Doesn't mean it isn't great. So this will be posted to my Mercari if anyone is interested. And then a fragrance that was super popular in the early 2000s and has been consistently in my top 10 for a while. It's only here in the middle category because of the design of the bottle. It is Michael from Michael Kors. So I have the more modern version that says Michael Kors on the front. This is one that's earlier from the earlier batches that says just Michael. So it is original. My problem with this and what frustrates me so much is that the atomizer, to get it to depress, you have to press on this thing here, and it's faulty. It's faulty in the new ones. It's faulty in the old ones. And the fragrance kind of either shoots out or dribbles out. And it kind of pisses me off because the fragrance is so beautiful. This is a tuberose bomb of a fragrance. One of the most highly feminine, super strong fragrances of the early 2000s. And still one of my all-time favorites. I'm really, really irritated with the design of the bottle. Ugh. Then in my bottom three, I'm going to start with a surprising one, Nuda Veritas from Atelier des Ors. I am not crazy about these gold flakes. At one time, I think when I first purchased this, I kind of thought that was cute, but I kind of find it distracting now. I mean, I don't need gold flakes in my fluid. The bottle itself, the actual glass, is really quite beautiful. This is a really nice, very light, summery, spring summery kind of a fragrance. Floral, clean, really great white t-shirt and jeans kind of fragrance. My only thing about it and the reason that it's in the bottom three is, of course, compared to the other fragrances in the month, this one just didn't capture my attention or feel really compelling. And as I have said before, I'm not one of those people that needs every fragrance to completely blow me away for me to enjoy it and keep it in my collection. Not at all, but I do want it to hold its own against other fragrances. And so while this one was really pleasant at one time, I may try to move it along to another home where it would be more appreciated. The same is true for Madonna Truth or Dare, which is discontinued. This is posted to my Mercari if anyone is interested. I can't entirely see how much is left. I think it's at about here. But this is a tuberose powerhouse fragrance. So for me, it doesn't last forever and ever. See, it smells so beautiful out of the cap. Do I want to sell this? So sweet tuberose out of the cap. When I applied it the last time, I got more of a green tuberose fragrance. I have a gazillion tuberose fragrances. It's one of my favorite notes in fragrances, but something about the greenness of this on my skin on the day that I wore it in November just made me go, I think that our time has maybe come to an end. It's still a fabulous fragrance. And then this one is really a hidden gem. Also posted to my Mercari. It is Mademoiselle Rochas Couture with my friend Chic inside the label on the back. I never liked this little bowie thing on here. It's why. The fragrance itself smells very much like an even sweeter version of Good Girl and more affordable. I think you can find this on the gray market like Fragrance Net and those kinds of sites for in the $30 to $40 range for a big full bottle. It smells really divine when you put it on. It doesn't have the greatest lasting power, and for that reason alone, I am ready to pass this along. But boy, have I enjoyed it the few times that I've worn it, and I think it smells fabulous. Okay, here's where I will probably upset people. This is the overhyped fragrance category. My own opinion. Please have your own and feel free to comment down below if you disagree. So again, overhyped doesn't mean that I don't think it's a beautiful fragrance. I just don't understand why people are like ready to jump off of cliffs. Parachute to their deaths to get a bottle of it. It is Jazz Club. Is this a lovely fragrance? Yes. I think the part that confuses me is that I've heard a lot of people say it's like one of their very, very top fragrances of the season. And I just don't know that I would personally classify it as like in my top 10 for fall or winter. Maybe it's the fact that this leans a little bit more masculine to me than I was anticipating. A lot of people called this very unisex. It is tobacco. There's a rumminess to it. Rum, red rum, not red rum, just regular rum. My 70s horror movie fans will understand the reference there. I think what I'm missing here is the heavy vanilla that other people get. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's this bottle, maybe it's the way that it reacts to me. The part of this that keeps me from putting it in a really high tier for the season, even though I do think it's gorgeous and I'm keeping this bottle, I enjoy it, is there is a vetiver in here that comes across almost scratchy and hay-like. And when it first opens, I get a cigarette ash kind of a smell to it that I'm not in love with. Once that calms down and it gets more into that tobacco and rum phase, I do enjoy it. Anyway, deserves hype, but I don't know that it deserves to be overhyped. That's it. Now, in terms of fragrances that I think are underhyped or hidden gems, I don't know that this next one is hidden, but I think it deserves more attention. Not everyone loves this. It's Borea from Tiziana Terenzi. I love that this is a fragrance that reminds me very much of hairspray and berries and coconuts and beaches. There's some combination of all of that happening in here that I find to be a really lovely, musky girliness that gives me summertime vibes. And I enjoy, every time I put this on, I enjoy it. I feel like I smell classy and pretty and put together. So this is a winner for me. And then I'm going to say something a little bit audacious and out there about this next hidden gem. It reminds me somewhat of Santal Complet from Fragrance du Bois at a fraction of the cost. It's difficult to find because I believe it is discontinued, but it's still available on Mercari, which is where I got this bottle, because I had a bottle a while back and then ended up selling it like a ding-a-ling or giving it away or something. Estee Lauder Sensuous Nude. This is a lovely, really light, like under your sweater, come hither, get close to me, snuggle up, and then smell me and want to stay close kind of a fragrance. This is sandalwood and a coconut, a nice dry coconut and a musky vanilla combination. Now, if you happen to get one, you may say to yourself, really, Veronica, is this what's happening here? I barely even smell this. But I think that's the beauty of this, that this is very soft on the skin. Someone has to be in your scent bubble to smell it. And it is like a your skin, but sexy better, not just better, sexy better kind of a fragrance. My husband loved this, and he definitely it had the effect on him that I said. He wanted to snuggle in and sniff my neck and have more of this. So lovely, not the most feminine. It's in the feminine direction because of that coconut and vanilla, but it also leans almost unisex, if you will, because of that sandalwood woodiness thing happening in here with little hints of musk. Really a gem of a fragrance. And if you're interested in older fragrances that aren't really hyped up, this would be one to check out. I'll leave you all with my very favorite fragrance for the month of November, and it will be among the ones that I talked about. And hands down, it is Commodity Milk Bold. Now, some people prefer the expressive version. I find them to be very similar, with this one being a little woodier, a little creamier, and the expressive version being a little bit lighter. more like cloud-like and in the marshmallow direction. This one knocks my personal socks off and I just love it. I'm going through it and I'm having to like resist from grabbing it from the shelf more often than I should because I have a lot of fragrances to try. But yes, November's crowning jewel, commodity milk bowl. I hope that you enjoyed the November awards. Let me know what you think down in the comments. What was your favorite fragrance in the month of November? See you in the December videos. Take care, friends.